All right, let's get right into it. The tech world has been buzzing, and it is finally official. OpenAI has just pulled the curtain back on GPT-5. And look, this isn't just another update. They're calling it a major leap forward, basically a whole new era in AI. So today, we're going to break down exactly what that means.
You know, OpenAI is not messing around with this announcement. Just read that headline. They're setting an incredibly high bar here. Expert-level intelligence in everyone's hands. That is a seriously bold claim. So let's dig into the tech behind it and see what's really going on.
So the first thing you need to know is that this is a huge shift in how they've built it. GPT-5 isn't just one single giant model anymore. It's what they're calling a unified system. You should really think of it like a team of specialists, all working together, designed from the ground up to be smarter and way more efficient. So how does this whole team thing actually work? Well, the secret sauce is something called a real-time router. This thing is basically the brain of the entire operation. The moment you type in a prompt, it instantly figures out how complex your request is and then acts like a super smart dispatcher, sending your job to the perfect model to handle it.
Here's how it works in practice. So you send a prompt. Could be anything, right? The router immediately sizes it up. Is this a simple question that just needs a quick answer? Or is it a really complex problem that needs some serious brain power? Based on that split-second analysis, it sends your request to the right specialist. This means you always get the best possible response without wasting any computing power. It's pretty smart.
So who exactly are these specialists on the team? Let's meet the new models that make up this GPT-5 family. There are 3 of them, and each one is designed to be the perfect tool for a specific kind of task.
First up, we've got GPT-5 Nano. I like to call this one the Sprinter. It is built for one thing above all else: speed and efficiency. So if you're doing tons of pretty straightforward tasks, like classifying data or summarizing articles, Nano is going to be your new best friend.
And this table just lays it all out. Its reasoning power is, average, but look at the speed. Very fast. And then check out that price. Just 5 cents for 1 million input tokens. That's incredibly cheap. It's built for scale. Next in the family is GPT-5 Mini. This one is really positioned as the all-arounder. It's kind of the workhorse of the group. It's faster and cheaper than the big flagship model, which makes it perfect for most of your everyday, well-defined tasks, where you just need a great balance of speed and intelligence.
And you can see the jump in power right here. We go from average to high reasoning while still keeping that speed in the fast category. At 25 cents per million tokens, it really hits that sweet spot for performance, especially for precise prompts.
And finally, we get to the main event, the flagship GPT-5 model itself. This is the powerhouse. It's been engineered for the absolute toughest challenges. We're talking complex coding, deep logical reasoning, and these things called agent tasks, which is just a fancy way of saying the AI can perform a bunch of steps all on its own to solve a problem. So the trade-off here is pretty clear. You're giving up a little bit of speed for absolutely top-tier intelligence. The reasoning is rated higher, making this the undisputed expert in the room. And yeah, it's more expensive at $1.25 per million tokens, but for those tasks that demand the absolute best, this is the one you want.
Wow, this chart really puts that whole pricing strategy into perspective, doesn't it? I mean, you can just see the massive difference between the tiers. This whole approach means you only pay for the horsepower you actually need, which makes the entire system so much more accessible and cost-effective for everyone. But hey, it's not all just about speed and cost. Let's talk about the quality of the output. OpenAI is claiming that GPT-5 is a much smarter creative partner, and that it represents a huge leap in writing and artistic expression.
And this slide is just a fantastic example of what they mean. On the left, you've got a perfectly fine poem from GPT-4o, but look at the one on the right from GPT-5. It has real literary depth. It uses these incredible images like black flags of a country that no longer exists, and it just lands with a much more powerful emotional ending. It's actually showing you the feeling, not just telling you about it.
Its personality has also been totally refined. Remember how older AIs could feel a little too agreeable, almost like they were just trying to please you? Well, that's been toned way down. The goal now is for conversations to feel less like you're talking to a machine and more like you're chatting with a genuinely helpful, super smart friend.
Okay, but beyond all the creative stuff, this next part might actually be the most important upgrade of all. We are talking about a new standard in reliability with massive improvements in both accuracy and honesty.
Let's start with this number right here. For your average real-world query, GPT-5 is about 45% less likely to make up facts or state a factual error compared to GPT-4o. That is a huge, huge reduction in the kind of mistakes that have been a real problem for these models.
And believe it or not, it gets even better. When you ask the model to really think hard about a problem, which engages its deeper reasoning capabilities, it's almost 80% less likely to contain a factual error. For anyone using AI for serious, knowledge-based work, this is an absolute game changer.
Now, this slide shows a really fascinating test of the model's honesty. Before, an AI might just pretend it could do something impossible. But look at that after response. GPT-5 doesn't lie to you. It explains exactly why it can't do what you asked in its current environment. This ability to admit its own limitations is a massive step forward for building trust and transparency.
Okay, so by now you're probably asking, how can I get my hands on this? Well, the good news is the rollout plan is designed to bring GPT-5 to pretty much everyone, but with a few different levels of access.
So here's the breakdown. The big flagship GPT-5 is now the default for all paid users. That's Plus, Pro, and Team. Free users will also get to use it, but once they hit their daily limit, they'll get switched over to the very capable GPT-5 Mini. Pro subscribers also get special access to something called GPT-5 Pro, which offers even more powerful reasoning for the really tough problems.
So let's do a quick recap of the most important takeaways here. First, GPT-5 is a brand new unified system with a smart router that picks the right tool for the job. Second, it's a whole family of models, Nano, Mini, and the Flagship, so there's something for every need and budget. And finally, and this is the big one, it represents a massive leap forward in creativity, factual accuracy, and genuine honesty.
And that really brings us to the final thought. OpenAI's whole mission is to put expert-level intelligence into everyone's hands. And with this release, we're closer than we have ever been to that reality. So the only question left is the most exciting one of all. What are we going to create next?